I work for EY as the tax leader for Africa. Before then, I was our Africa tax leader for Barclays, and before then, Africa tax leader for Shell. I am Advocate Lucia Hlongwane. Growing up in Winterveld was tough. I mean, it was as tough as they come. Winterveld is very rough. It is still like that, unfortunately, today. I think I've already said my mom was a domestic worker. If I didn't, I'm saying it now. She was a domestic worker. So you can imagine that kind of life of earning 300 rands per month. And I could only apply to one university, which was less. I didn't have money to try 3 or 4 universities. The first year I had a bursary, things were fine. Second year, they're telling us there's no bursary anymore. Mandela, I remember the lady in the bursary office saying, but Mandela is out of prison, so we don't have bursaries for you. And then we were told, go to him, he'll give you the bursary. My mom says, but we can't we go to the banks? Won't they lend us money and all of that? I'm like, I've already been there. They can lend us money, but they want surety. Not knowing that my mom would wake up, get into a taxi. She ended up in some doctor's surgery. She went there and then she asked to speak to the doctor. So they spoke to the wife and then they let her in. And then there my mom is explaining this surety story and the guarantees and all of that. So they looked at the lady looked at the forms and said, okay, can you come back tomorrow with your daughter? So my mom said, oh, okay, I will. And then when we got in there, can you believe it? These guys had signed the forms, signed unlimited liability. That meant they had to disclose everything that they are about. You're thinking, am I dreaming? Is this actually happening? And then the next thing, we went to the bank. And the bank was very excited. And I had money. So that's how I started. When I was at Belleville, that's where I started my tax career. I was like literally the only black person. So I didn't have a name. I was that swart girl, Dardi Swart Fro. I think firstly, just being a loner, finding yourself as the minority, because remember that tax is or has been historically male dominated. So I would find myself in a room with just white male. And the reality is that they were not all welcoming. I mean, I was asked questions like, what is your claim to fame? Like what gives you the right to be on the table with us? So it wasn't like very, very welcoming. So that actually built that kind of resilience. Like I made sure that there is nothing that you can ask me that I will not be able to answer, because it was also a question of pride. When you get in, understand what this is about. Understand the strategy, understand the culture of your environment first before you set your own strategy for your own limited space. And once you have done that, understand the focus, understand how success looks like, and then set your own strategy. This is where we are, this is where we need to get to. What do we need? What are the big building blocks to get to that point?